mean, we covered a lot, especially on the Awakening one. And I kind of fear what's going on because even in Poland, people I know, they were told to train the AI, and then it was like, good luck, you're gone. And if we look
Yep.
to kind of the cars now, the driving and the trucks, couriers, and even supermarkets, there's a lot of kind of lower skilled jobs, and there's not much for them. And even if you ask me, my youngest child is 11, and if you ask me, what should he do? Because even programmers, there's programmers that their jobs are gone because the AI is working. So I'd like to ask you, what do you think somebody should start studying now? Because there's a lot of them, by the time they go through 4 to 6 years in university, their job is no longer there.
It's a really good question, and I was just talking to somebody about this the other day who has a daughter kind of entering the university range, and we were saying, what comes out from there. So one, I think from a generational perspective, the generations coming up always have found this a way to be in the disruptive, right? To work in the flow of things. And so one, I have hope for that in just that the flexibility, fluidity of learning is just so different than, for example, you and I who have been in the world for a little bit longer. So there's that. But I also think it's a similar question, right? What are the things that you're starting to find interest in? And when you look at something like AI, how are you actually starting to dig in? And if you're not already building those skills, I'm sure they are because that's the generation of what they're exposed to. And starting to think about where you want to go with that, right? There's so many opportunities of starting your own business through whether it be technology, through services, because AI can facilitate that. And so maybe a place to begin is actually thinking about self. Where can I start to discover the value that I can bring in my markets or in my spaces? So that might be one. Maybe that's on the innovation side. I think the other part is in university or in that age, uh, continued advice might be, how do you network and learn from others, especially disruptors in spaces you might want to go? So, for example, you mentioned programming. Let's go down that route for a second. How am I connecting with other folks in tech, whether it be leaders, other early career folks, but ones that are thinking about the kind of the future of that industry or that particular role? And networking and asking those types of questions. Hey, what would you recommend for someone that's 2 years out from school or a year out or 4 years out? What are things that you're seeing that's going to be happening 4 years from now that I might be considering? I think the pace of change is so quick that it's not one of those things that, sure, we might read an article about it or you could research about it. But I think spending time investing in finding people that you can connect with can help fuel what's possible. And by the way, I think that that's a great skill to have in general because part of what will shift is the power of like that strategic thinking, the connection across the things that AI can't do. So not only will networking give you the insight of what's coming, it also gives you perspective and skill sets that I think will serve you well outside of the AI world. So those might be a couple things to think about and to get started on.